Yeah. All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Hockey 605, our tournament wrap-up program. We're live from the Larson Ice Center. My name's Randy Preston, here with Dakota Case and also Dan French, the South Dakota Amateur Hockey Association
Yes,
board president.
I am. Yep. I've been the president 4 years now, and my term is coming up, and I'll probably be rerunning, so we'll see what happens again.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Dan, obviously a great tournament going on here in Brookings so far this year. What are your thoughts?
This has been a very good tournament. Probably one of the first times in recent years that I can remember going in. 6 teams had a legitimate shot at winning this, and the games have been great. Brookings has put on a great show for us to view here. The teams are excited, and they're playing right to the end. And this last game was a great example.
Last game was incredible. When it started going to runtime, I thought, okay, we're done, and that certainly wasn't the end of the game.
I can't remember a game going back into stop time.
Yeah.
Maybe the last time I saw it was a Pee Wee game years ago.
Exactly.
So it doesn't happen very often.
Exactly. Well, Dan, you've been president. Is this your first year, or how long have you been president of South Dakota Hockey?
Second year of my second term, so this
Okay.
is my fourth season.
Fourth season.
Yep, and then prior to that, I was vice president for 3.5 years.
I knew you've been out there a long time. I just couldn't remember the
Yeah,
exact terms. Tell us a little bit about what's happened in that. You've been in leadership roles now for 7 years. What's happened in those 7 years? What's changed?
The biggest thing is, what we see in our numbers as far as the growth. And then I think the game has changed. The game is faster now. I do some officiating also, and there's no way I could be out on the ice with these kids. I know my limitations, and these kids are flying. And, so those are the two things that I see that stick out the most. Obviously, the thing from a leadership standpoint is the growth that we see. Um, you know, Brandon formed up a few years ago. This coming season, they're looking at potentially getting into a Pee Wee league.
Perfect.
So we have a lot of growth there. Obviously, what Sioux Falls has done with their new arena, their numbers are continuing to grow. They're probably going to be looking at over 650 kids in their program next year. Rushmore has continued to grow over the years, and great growth currently. They've almost gotten to the point where they've outgrown their facility. They've had to rent ice down at the city for the younger kids and that type of thing. So a lot of growth out in Rapid City. And now we've got a new association that's going to be coming up on board. Group in Spearfish, the Northern Hills Amateur Hockey Association. They've been formed. They've got a letter of application in to us at SDAHA to join our league. So it's great to see another association out west.
Yes, it is.
Finally, Rapid City isn't going to have to travel forever to get to anywhere. So it is nice to see. A lot of support in the Spearfish community from the city, a lot of local interest. And they're going to be able to draw from a large area. I mean, besides just Spearfish, there's going to be Belfouche, the kids from Sturgis will be going there, Lee Deadwood, so they're going to have a pretty good population base to pull from. So,
well, that's exciting. I mean, I'm really looking forward to actually being able to travel out west and not have just a deadhead to Rapid City.
yeah, it will be nice having them out there. Obviously it's going to take several years for them to get to the point where they're at the varsity play. But there's several kids right now that are playing in Rapid City that technically would probably fall under the Northern Hills jurisdiction, so to speak. We're not going to force those kids to move, but if they choose so, they certainly can go back to Spearfish and play, but we're not going to force them to. Because it's going to be a few years again before they get up and going at any league level.
That makes a lot of sense. So, Dan, you said you're running again, potentially?
I've given it a lot of thought. I probably will. I've enjoyed my time that I've been around. I've made a lot of contacts, around the state, and was really involved with the um, things that we do within the Northern Plains District. So I'm still definitely want to be involved. I'm not ready to give it up yet.
That makes a lot of sense. Dan, thank you for stopping by and having a chat with us tonight. I really appreciate your time.
Well, I thank you guys for all that you guys have done. You've done a fantastic job to help promote South Dakota amateur hockey and bringing the game to a lot of people that probably didn't know it was out there or didn't have the opportunity to get to it. So what you guys do is great also.
We thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, I do have one question for you. Where do you see within the next 5-10 years South Dakota youth amateur hockey going? What do you see in its future?
You know, that is a tough question. The one thing I do see is continued development. We're getting to the point where, um, you know, if you compare us to, and with most of the teams being out here in eastern South Dakota, they play a lot of Minnesota teams, and that gap of ability is getting narrower and narrower all the time. And we like to compare ourselves to them, and you know, we're never going to be their powerhouse, but that gap is getting closer and closer, and that's what we like to see. And you know, Sioux Falls with the Junior Stampede that they've got going and starting up, we're giving the kids in South Dakota an opportunity to play at that next level of hockey, to hopefully be able to at some point, you know, get some kids that are playing beyond just the high school level. You know, that's really what we want to do. We want to give those kids that opportunity to get to the next level.
Very cool. Well, once again, thank you very much, Dan, for joining us on the show tonight.
Thank you.
You bet.
Well, I want to take just a quick moment while we change places here to give a shout out to our sponsor of our tournament wrap-up show. That's the Shields Iceplex. They've got so much stuff going on over here in the next few weeks. It's just a little bit crazy. The weekend of the 27th, they have a Northland hockey tournament coming. 33 teams coming to Sioux Falls to play youth hockey in the AAA level. We've got a figure skating competition coming the weekend of the 20th. This weekend, today, they just got done with the U12 girls jamboree. That was, from all marks, a success. There's open skating at the Iceplex every Friday and Saturday night. And then coming up in April, toward the middle part of April, the 18th and 19th, there's a Grand Falls Casino Men's League tournament sponsored by the Sioux Falls Amateur Adult Hockey League. It's going to be a good time. If you're ever want to see some wannabe players playing hockey, it's a lot of fun. I've been to quite a few. Be sure to check out the website at shieldsiceplex.com. Also, just a quick shout out for our Hockey 605 group. Tournament DVDs are available on the Hockey 605 website, hockey605.com. All these DVDs are done in high definition. It will be a really, really good time and some great memories for the kids as well. And once again, that's at hockey605.com. Just check out the link for DVDs and order them there. Well, we did a quick change here, and somebody familiar to me, Doug Sorensen, has stepped in. Doug is our head director of officials in South Dakota. I believe that's close to your title, something like that.
Close enough.
Close enough. Doug is the person who's basically in charge of all the officials, does the annual seminars every year, and also then selects the officials for the tournaments, and is, in a manner of speaking, a supervisor over all the officials in the state.
That's great.
All right. Well, Doug, I know you've been done some stuff on Hockey 605 before. I remember the interview last year at the girls' tournament. Had a pretty good year this year, it looks like. How's the officiating crew in South Dakota right now?
I'm pretty happy with the way things have gone this year. We've had a good season. We're kind of in a transition time. Over the last few years, we've lost some of our senior officials to retirement. Their kids are getting older, whatever the case might be, and moved on from the game. Thing that I'm probably most proud about of the 6 years that I've been state supervisor is some of the young guys that we've brought along in that time. We've got a crop of young 18 to 22, 23-year-old referees, not just guys, got a couple of gals coming along that are doing really nicely. Really pleased with the development that we've seen.
Very much so. And I'm not going to ask you to point out any names because I know that that's really not fair to anybody. But I've seen a lot of the young officials. As an off-ice official for the Flyers and doing some stuff here at the tournament, I get to know a lot of these guys, and they're you got a great group of guys, great group of gals working.
I do. I'm like I said, I'm really pleased, and besides getting to work with them, I've gotten to be really good friends with a lot of them too, and it's really what makes this job worthwhile.
There you go. So Doug, one question that I'd like to ask, and I'm sure that our crew out in internet world would like to know. You've got officials that you select for these tournaments. What is the process for selecting officials for the tournaments, and as well as trying to schedule the league games that go on at the same time?
That's I had a full head of hair when I started this job, and that's where this came from. Officials for the state tournaments, when we sign our contract with the SDAHA every fall at seminar time, we say that if we want to qualify to work a state tournament, we will travel more than 4 times throughout the season. Depending on the level of tournament, achieve a certain level of official, whether it be a 1, 2, or 3. Feedback from Dan, from a bit of feedback from the varsity coaches, feedback from senior officials. Swirl it all together and try to put the best crews possible out on the ice for the weekend.
I know it's not an easy task, and I'm sure that there are times that you are questioned as to why isn't this person working this tournament.
This is the downside of the job. The hardest part of the job, just about every level 3 in the state that's actively busy working games wants this tournament.
Yes.
The boys and girls varsity tournaments are our 2 showcases in the South Dakota League, and everybody wants to work them. I whine and cry myself because I can't assign myself to work the girls tournament and supervise it, so I have to go and smile and be the supervisor and put 4 of my friends to work instead.
There you go. There you go. Well, Doug, are there other... I'm trying to think of a way to go about this here, but I know that you've got a lot of officials that are out there that are on their way up through the system. If you were a young hockey player, or let me put this a different way, do you have any words for young hockey players that are looking at potentially becoming officials? How do you go about it?
First thing is to get signed up. The registration season starts for officials about the beginning of August every year. Go to usahockey.com, register as an official. You'll get your rule book, officiating manual for a basic manual, and you can start studying. The requirements are, compared to any other youth sport, the requirements to be a hockey official are much more in-depth than I've seen in other sports. There is an online component, there's an on-site seminar that you have to attend, there's an open book test. As you move up in levels, there's a closed book exam. We require our officials to certify in safe sport training, and that's to get you going. Once you've done that, you're registered with the state and can get on the schedule. That's all stuff we cover in depth at the seminar, and then get started. Jump in and get some games. And one of the great things about officiating hockey in South Dakota is that the senior officials we have are wonderful at bringing people along. I could never dream of trying to supervise 175 officials by myself without that 8 or 10 experienced senior level 3s that are working the games and spending the time in the arena and in the locker room with the younger refs.
I would agree with you. I can say for sure that my son Trevor has just no doubt really appreciated all of the senior guys that he's worked with over the last few years. Has learned a lot, and hopefully one day, if he ever gets to that point, he'll be able to turn around and do the same thing for other officials.
Yep. That's the goal.
Now I do know that all of the associations are looking for officials to help at their youngest levels. Squirt,
yeah,
mites,
always a scramble. Yep.
And a lot of times there's a group of people there at these associations that will teach these young kids how to at least start officiating, how to call offsides, how to call icing. And at that level, they don't really require any certification. Really, they just really want the kids to get out on the ice and do some work. And I think that's a great way to at least get started and get interested in it.
And there's a point to that, but the best way to go, of course, I work for USA Hockey,
Certainly.
so I want them in a seminar. I want them getting the training and getting certified. Once they start playing USA Hockey games, we require USA Hockey certified officials.
Certainly understand that. Well, Doug, do you have any questions for Doug? I should ask that.
I do not. No.
All right.
I'm just enjoying this.
Well, Doug, I want to thank you personally thank you for everything you've done for Trevor. He really appreciates having you as a friend. And secondly, just appreciate your stopping by and chatting with us tonight. Thank you so much.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, we appreciate it, man. Have a good one. All right, why don't we try and scoot together here a little bit, Dakota? Are we going to put one more in here? Yeah, we've got one more. I'm sorry. I forgot we had another guy here. My bad. It's been a long day. Uh-oh.
Have a good night, y'all.
Thanks, Angela. Have a good day.
The magic of live TV.
Yeah, there you go. And my wife will be watching this, and she'll wonder, and it's all good. At least Angela's a good friend, so Well, Dan, I don't know you. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I don't know you either. I'm just first time.
There you go.
Dan Hobblick with KCCR Radio and Pier, calling games for the Capitals this weekend here at the State Hockey Tournament in Brookings.
Perfect. So, tell me a little bit about your venture into radio, if nothing else.
It's all started back at Bowling Green State University. That's where I went to college at, and started with a student radio organization there, and kind of just took off. Took a year and a half out of college. Took me a while to get a job here. This is my first real job in radio. So I got here, and then hockey was part of the play-by-play duties when I walked in the door and started to work with the Capitals, and loved working with him since the minute I started. Coach Rob Pate is a great gentleman, great coach, and he has been extremely helpful in the 3 seasons I've been calling Capitals hockey. The players have been very nice. Parents love having us. Calling the games on the radio. They enjoy having me out, and I'm sure I'll be seeing a lot of them right after I get done with this interview. So,
I'm sure.
Yes, it's that's kind of the venture, and that's kind of the steps that I've taken to get here. So.
All right. Well, Bowling Green University, is there? Do they have hockey? I don't believe they.
Oh
have
yeah.
Hockey.
Oh yeah. They're top.
Perrier,
Oh, that's right.
Top 10. Doc
You're right.
Emmerich's a
Andrew Hammond, who's carrying up the
Ottawa
NHL right now.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Hamburglar. He's on my
Hamburglar.
fantasy team.
There you go.
Yeah.
So did you call hockey in college as well?
I did not. No,
Okay.
that spot actually was for our student organization, the play-by-play man. He was a season-long hire. Came from our organization, and that position was filled by a very good friend of mine, Everett Fitzhugh, at the time, and he did for a couple of years. Yeah. So, but I was there for many. I was in attendance for many games, and currently top 10 ranked, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, in the playoffs right now. So,
Perfect.
yeah, it's been a good run. Bowling Green, my senior year, had their worst year hockey, and they were looking to cut the program, and then we hired a new coach, and things turned around very quickly. So
That can happen.
Well, it's not like they're the Gophers. I mean,
yes, that's true. That's true.
It's not that historic of a hockey program, but they turn out a good product, though. So I'm glad they were able to keep that.
They pack the arena, no matter if it's a losing season or a winning season. They do very well.
That's what matters.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Well, since you are here and you have, I guess, followed the Capitals all year, tell us a little bit about you. You were here for both games they've played so far,
Yeah.
were you not?
Yep.
What do you think so far of the Capitals' play in the tournament?
I was really impressed with their play yesterday, and I'll carry on into the second game here tonight. But yesterday against Watertown, I was really impressed with how they were aggressive on their odd man rushes. Watertown got sloppy along the blue line, and they forced a lot of turnovers and took shots. Usually the Capitals tend to be kind of like a dump and chase team, but they were on the attack. They came in fired up, a little on pins and needles in the first 5 minutes of that hockey game, which Coach Rob Pate expected. A lot of us expected to, because they hadn't played in 2 weeks. But they were very aggressive, and I liked the speed to the puck that they had. Now, shifting over tonight, I thought they did a fantastic job defensively in the first period against Rushmore. going down 1-0 at Rushmore is a fantastic hockey club, and it's going to be a tough game tomorrow. Sioux Falls and Rushmore, they're two quality programs, but Rushmore's the real deal. No wonder they're defending state champs, but they were flying up and down the ice, and the Capitals weathered the storm a little bit, and I was really impressed. They tried to stay out of the penalty box as best as they could, but sometimes emotions get the best of teams and players, and that happens. And then we things got a little bit out of hand. But I like the no quit in them. They didn't quit at the end of the hockey game. They scored 3 consecutive goals, got within 3 again. But yeah, that's some of the things I've really enjoyed watching about the Capitals this weekend. It's just they kept fighting there in that game, and yesterday their attacks they were really strong. So.
Well, I've watched the Capitals over the years, particularly when they came to Sioux Falls and play.
Mm-hmm.
I followed them up into North Dakota a couple years when they were up there doing their mid-season trip up through Dickinson and
Yep.
Bismarck. And a Rob Kate coach team is always going to be in the hunt.
Absolutely, yes. And I think we were talking before the tournament started. I think this, since they were in the semifinals tonight, it's 10 out of last 11 years. 10 out of 11 they've been to the semifinals. So I mean, he's been with the program ever since it started back in the Pier 4 Pier area, and he knows hockey. He's a very good coach. He's got great talent, great programs below. You got to give credit to those coaches in the bantam levels, JV levels as well. Squirt, mites. I mean, they know how to kind of breed them up in Pier and Fort Pier for Capitals hockey. And I'd say they've had a good program ever since I arrived. So
I've always enjoyed, like I said, my trips out to Pier. Gotten to know Rob a little bit over the years as the PA voice of the Flyers when I'm in Sioux Falls.
Oh, okay.
I'm always talking to him at the bench every game, and we bump into each other at odd places around the country all the time. And Rob's a nice guy.
Yeah, Rob's a nice guy, and I will say that we do coaches shows on Saturday morning, and Rob is there every time I ask him. He never turns me down once for an interview, and we exchange text outside of hockey, just maybe talking other things outside of the Capitals. Yeah, Rob, all around nice fellow.
All right, Dakota, do you have any questions? I bet you do.
1 or 2.
Well, what was your opinion tonight of Sanchez? I thought he was, at least on the ice as a skater, I felt that he was probably the Capitals' best overall player.
I agree with that. I think Peter played a fantastic game tonight. I could see Landon start coming around, but Peter's play, he kept himself out of the penalty box. And Peter started the season, I thought, as a third line guy, but boy, he's worked his way out right up there with the top scoring line for the Capitals. And overall, he did have a good game. He kept crashing the net. He kept playing hard. He didn't let Rushmore get into his head at all. And you're right. I think he played a great all-around game, probably one of the best ones for the Capitals tonight. So.
Well, that's my phone. But you know what? You guys can't hear that.
Yeah, turn it on vibrate.
Yeah, you can't hear it, so we're good. Then also the goaltender. I noticed he has a really good glove. When he can see the shot, when he can really get to that shot, he has a very good glove. And I thought, especially, well, he did have a few goals against that obviously you just want back.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, there was a couple of those on the. You can only control so much,
Right.
and Matt has done a great job for the Capitals over the course of the year. Like you said, he does have a great glove. He sees the puck very well. He's a strong goaltender. He stands in that crease tall, and he's not afraid to take a shot if somebody gets right on the doorstep, and he's not afraid to face one. And that's just Rushmore, the way the Rushmore plays. They move that puck very well, and they make that extra pass, it seems like. And I go right back in that power play goal, their first power play goal, right on the back door. Matt tried his best to get across the crease and stop the puck, but that's just part of hockey. It happens, and Matt's a very good goaltender, and that seems to be another position we've been very fortunate to have in the Pier 4 Pier area here in the last several years. And having a good goalkeeper always makes a world of difference.
Well, I know that last season you had a goaltending battle, 2 seniors playing against
Yeah, we
each
had
other.
Tim First and Alex Meyer. Actually, Alex is recovering up in Billings right now, and of course, wish him the best after his injury that he suffered during a game. So, we had rotating goalkeepers last year in the state tournament. One played on Friday, one played on Saturday, and I can't remember who finished out on Sunday. But yeah, we've been fortunate to have good goalkeepers over the last couple of years. So.
And once again, like you said, Alex is a family friend, and big shout out to Alex
Absolutely.
and Kelly and the family out there. And I believe they're all, or the Kelly and is out in Billings, I believe.
I do believe
with,
so. Yeah. Yep.
With Alex right now, and I believe he's in rehab right now, doing some work. So outpatient rehab. So yeah, great family.
Well, I guess two more short questions.
Okay.
One, your pick for tomorrow, and two, a returning player to look out for next year.
Pick for tomorrow. I'm pulling for the Cavs. I mean, that's going to be a tough game against the Rangers. Brookings, last time we played them, they took it to us pretty good up in the building in the fourth period at the Expo Center. It was a 10-4 final, and I don't think our boys forgot about that. They cherish an opportunity to beat Brookings, and they'll get it tomorrow in the third place game. Player to watch out. You said for next year?
Yeah.
Landon Badger for sure. First team All-Stater this year. I know Landon is playing with a little bit of a heavy heart this weekend. I won't go into it too much, but he's a good hockey player. I'm excited to watch him finish out this tournament this weekend and then get ready 2 weeks and watch him play baseball. He's a better baseball player than he is hockey player. So Landon's a guy to watch next year. And then, of course, Pete's back next year, and he'll probably move up on that top line again with Landon. So, I mean, they only lose 3 seniors, the Capitals do this year. So they should be one of the top teams again next year in the league. So.
Well, very cool. I guess that wraps it up for me.
All right, well, thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for stopping by. We appreciate it. And now we'll take our chance to try and scoot together here, if you don't mind. If you can get up. I know it's been a long day. I totally understand. Seriously, totally understand. I haven't had quite as tough a day today as I did yesterday, but you know, it's been a little bit of a day today. So, well, want to just quick cover. We did have 4 games today.
Yeah.
And you called 2 of the games.
Yes.
So why don't we start with the 2 that you were involved in? And since we've been talking Oahe Capitals Rushmore Thunder, that was the final game of the night tonight.
Yeah.
Very entertaining hockey game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You know, it was a tight game in the first period.
Mm-hmm.
The second period, well, I mean, Rushmore wave after wave of offense. They break it open. And, you know, I called in the second intermission that you need to expect the best period of the year from Oahe.
Yeah.
And they came out and they scored 3 goals.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just hard when you fall that far back. It is hard to keep, to level the playing field.
Yeah,
So,
you know, and like Dan French alluded to earlier, I don't remember ever in varsity hockey in South Dakota and particularly at a tournament, ever seeing a team come out of runtime back into stop time. And you have to score 2 goals to do that. You have to get it to a 4-goal differential. And wow, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So
it was a very entertaining match.
it certainly was.
Yeah.
So we'll run through the scoring real quick here. First goal happened in the first period, very late, 14:39.
Yeah.
Rushmore Thunder goal by Anthony Petrato on the power play.
Just a beauty.
Oh,
a beauty of a snipe.
Yeah.
Backdoor. Pease had no chance.
No, not at all. They did give assists to Blake Kauth and to Owen Lieberknight. Once again, that was the only goal scored in the first period. Rushmore did outshoot Oahe 14-5 in the first, and that was a pretty huge differential in shots. But
it got worse.
Yeah, it got worse. Rushmore controlled the puck the vast majority of that first period.
Oh yeah. Rushmore was just the better team.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only way to explain it. I do think that Tucker lost focus later in the game.
Yeah.
He was out of position on a couple goals. There were a couple of them that you could clearly tell that he wanted back.
Yeah, very much so.
And when you make those mistakes, it is hard to refocus and concentrate. And as a goaltender, the best game is a 2-1 win.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to get a shutout, but if you're in the process of getting that shutout, you still have that in the back of your mind. I can't let one in. I can't let one in. If you allow one, the pressure's off. I don't have to get the shutout, but I'm not going to let another goal get past me. So let's forget about the shutout. Let's focus on the win.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my opinion, I would much rather have a 2-1 game than 1-0, because that's just, you have to physically stand on your head.
Yeah.
And that is a lot to ask from a goaltender, especially a goaltender of the age of these youngsters here.
Mhm.
And they allowed each of them. Well, it was a high-scoring game. It
Yes.
was what, a 14-goal game?
14 goals.
14 goals. Incredible, just incredible. But yeah, I mean, it's one thing to be shelled
Mhm.
and allow a bunch of goals. It's another to be on the good side of the shelling.
Yeah.
And allow one or two, but don't let that get under your skin. Just keep moving forward. And I think that's one thing that Sioux Falls might be able to exploit.
Yeah.
Tucker lost focus. He lost concentration, and they scored 3 goals on him in the third period.
They did.
So that's one thing I think Sioux Falls coaches were looking at. And if he loses concentration, if he can get under his skin, you have a chance.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't matter how many waves of offense Rushmore throws at you. You get under his skin, you have a chance.
Certainly. So moving on to the second period, lots of scoring.
Yeah.
I'll run through these real quick. 3:23, a Rushmore goal. Brooks Mitzel on the power play from Owen Lieberknight and Anthony Petrato. At 5:59, another goal, even strength goal by Lucas Ferdinand from Dante Heredia.
And
that was a great
Ferdinand
goal.
goal was it was awesome.
Yeah.
Ferdinand was a fun player to watch.
Yes, he
He
was.
really was.
He was. Physical player,
Mhm.
big. I mean,
Yeah.
big guy.
Yeah.
Rushmore Thunder goal at 9:16, Anthony Petrato from Dante Heredia. And then finally, the Capitals get on the scoreboard at 12:39. Peter Sanchez, even strength goal from Landon Badger with
Yep.
the assist, and that was really a pretty goal as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Capitals did decide at that point that they were maybe still in the game. Of
Mhm.
course, Rushmore comes back with 2 more goals, bang
Yeah.
bang. 13:47, a goal by Owen Lieberknight, even strength goal. Justin Peterson and Tanner Good with the assists.
Yeah.
And then another even strength goal, 15:54 in the second. Jack Oberg from T.J. Nolan. T.J. Nolan really finally getting a point on the evening.
Well, and then he exploded.
Oh,
in the
he
third
did,
period.
he did.
Yeah.
And then finally, with just 32 seconds left in the period, another Capitals goal, Coleman Vardy from Jaden Grease, excuse me, and Chase Bolte.
Yeah.
Another nice goal, but once again, I think that was where we started seeing Taron Tucker lose his focus a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah.
So moving, and then shots on goal for that period were 21 for Rushmore, 11 for Oahe.
Well, Tucker was playing for Rushmore.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yep. No, it was in the third period where he lost
Yeah.
his focus. And apparently you did too. So
I did.
Yeah.
I was a little busy over there writing stuff down.
Excuses. Excuses. I mean, they only scored like what, 1 billion goals.
A billion
in the second
goals,
period,
1,000
yeah.
penalties.
Right.
It was just one of those games.
Yep.
Into the third, now I'm into penalties down here. There we go. Third period, an early Rushmore goal, 2:47 into the third. T.J. Nolan with his second goal of the game, assist to Jack Noberg, and then finally T.J. Nolan on the power play for his hat trick at 6:34 from Petrato and Kauth.
And that was identical from Petrato's first goal.
Yes.
Except, I mean, it was just gorgeous. One of the two, you knew either Nolan or Petrato would get the hat trick,
Yes.
and it just ended up being Nolan. But Petrato had a few really good chances to collect that.
Right. And at this point, we're 8-2, run time.
Yeah.
And the gentleman working next to me running the clock, he put the stopper down, and we started just kind of thinking we're going to be out of here in about 8-10 minutes, and not so much.
Yeah.
Wahi comes back, scores a goal at 8:44. Peter Sanchez from Landon Badger and Derek Burke to make it 8-3, and then at 10:43, another Capitals goal from Josh Albright. That brings it out of runtime. We're at 8-4. And then at 12:57, another Capitals goal, Jacob First from Nate Zimmerman to make it 8-5. It's interesting at that point. We're still 3.5, 4 minutes left in the game.
And that was a great shot by Zimmerman from the blue line. Just slinging it from the blue line.
Mm-hmm.
And redirection there, got it 5-hole on Tucker, and you could just really see him lose his concentration.
Yeah, very much so. And then it ended up, Nolan did get the hat trick there at the very end, I should say. He didn't have it earlier. It was just the 2 goals. Third goal was at 16:39, just 21 seconds left in the game.
Yeah.
T.J. Nolan from Anthony Petrato. Really, at that point, I mean, all done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, quite a few penalties, particularly in the third period, as it got a little physical.
Yeah. Well, Petrado's big hit in the corner.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, you just saw that. Was that, what was that? Was that boarding or charging?
The big hit in the corner, they just called roughing on that. They roughing, and then they had a double minor for unsportsmanlike, or a minor for roughing, a minor for unsportsmanlike on Petrado, and then a unsportsmanlike conduct on Hone
Okay.
from Hawaii.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would not have surprised me if it was charging because, I mean, he just charged right into that corner. You could see it from up here that that was going to be a highlight reel hit. But, yeah.
So final on that game, Rushmore Thunder 9, Oahe Capitals 5. That moves them on to the final tomorrow afternoon about 3 o'clock
Yeah,
here at
it's
the
gonna be
Larson.
exciting.
It's going to be a great game. They'll be taking on the Sioux Falls Flyers, who played a game for the ages this afternoon against the Brookings Rangers.
Oh, man. That was, you wonder why I sound so soft. It was that last goal by Anderson that just, it was, I mean, folks, this goal was gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was just gorgeous. And he comes in, he dekes and dangles and just slices his way through the defense like a hot knife through butter. And I just lost it. Just seeing him do that, I lost it. And buy the DVD. I really suggest you buy the DVD because I just go nutso right then and there. And Randy McKee can testify to that.
There you go. Well, it was a great game all in all. I mean, you end the first period tied 1-1.
Yeah,
You end the second period tied 3-3.
yeah.
And that third period was just a fight. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a fight, and back and forth, and not really. The Flyers really came out in that third period.
Brookings was down, or Brookings was up 3-1.
Yeah.
And Sioux Falls just found a way, and it's all because of Caleb Anderson.
Yeah.
He just found a way to muscle his way in. I mean, they've got Otta, they've got the Prisbys, and they've played great games, but they just weren't game breakers like Caleb Anderson was.
No, not today.
No, not
Not
today.
today.
Definitely not today.
So we'll run through the scoring in this game. Once again, Brookings started out with the first goal of the game at 9:09. Austin Himley from Tanner Nielsen. It was a really pretty goal. The one thing that I can say about Brookings versus Sioux Falls, they're always great games. Always great games.
Yeah.
Always very physical games. But the Rangers have a style of play unlike anybody else in the state right now. They have a very flowing style of play, and I don't know that they really got that play going at all today to speak of.
Looking back on it, yeah, I didn't see it.
Yeah. I would wager you'll see it tomorrow in the consolation game.
Yeah.
But Brookings did not look like themselves today. The Flyers played pretty typical Flyers hockey. They're not a huge scoring team, just in general.
Yeah.
They usually play really good defense. And they played really good defense. Both teams, frankly, there's a little bit of a question mark in goal.
Yeah.
But the goaltenders both did pretty well today.
Right.
So the Flyers did have a goal then at 11:36 of the first period. Sam Prisby from Luke Evans.
He had a lot of chances.
Yeah.
Sam Prisby, Hoekstra, Sam Hoekstra.
Yeah.
He also had some good
Well,
opportunities.
he had some amazing opportunities.
Yeah.
And now I'll let you into a little bit of a secret here. You were over here on the Sioux Falls side today with all the Sioux Falls people.
Yeah.
I was over there with all the Brookings people today.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear a lot of good sounds down there in the penalty box area and the scoring table today.
Yeah.
There was a lot of oh.
Yeah.
So it was, and I did my best to maintain my neutrality as much as I could. So, but
I kind of blew that on that last goal by Anderson. I'm ashamed.
Well, we move into the second period, and the Rangers did get out 2 goals right away in the second period. 3:32 in, Austin Himley from Tanner Nielsen, and then at 7:17, Ryan Himley on the power play, unassisted goal. And then at 12 minutes, the Flyers started coming back. Caleb Anderson unassisted, and then a power play goal by Sam Hoekstra from Thomas Becker. That was at 16:28.
Yeah.
Tied it up again, so we're 3-3 heading into the third period. And the third period was it was one for the ages. It really was. It was back and forth hockey, very physical. The referees, for the most part, kept their whistles in their pockets.
Yeah.
And they, you ended up with the only goal of the game of the third period being scored by Caleb Anderson, 15:23 remaining, or 15:23 of the third.
And it was gorgeous. I mean, it was just gorgeous. Oh my goodness.
So,
I'm sorry
yeah.
for cheesing out here. It's just, it was probably goal of the tournament.
I would say I would probably agree with you.
Oh man.
So we had Donovan Knott was in goal for the Flyers. He stopped 20 of 23 shots on goal.
I kept wanting to call him Barney Fife. I mean,
Donovan's a great kid.
oh, I bet.
I've known Donovan. Believe it or not, I've known Donovan since he was this tall, and now he's like this tall.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yeah. And he had one or two there where they were kind of soft goals.
Yes.
But I think he rebounded quite nicely. But it'll be interesting to see what he can do against the Rushmore.
Well, it'll be
attack.
interesting tomorrow because I'm not sure if it'll be Donovan in goal or Robert Burnt in goal. Robert did start the game yesterday.
Okay.
And Donovan started the game today. And usually Sioux Falls will rotate their goaltenders.
Wow.
However, we don't know yet. We'll have to wait to find out tomorrow.
That'll be an
going to be in
interesting
goal.
storyline to follow for tomorrow.
Very much so. John Koenig had the Brookings goaltending, the Brookings net, 27 of 31 shots, stopped. Really played a pretty good game.
Yeah, he did. I was really impressed by him. He stood tall and he made life difficult for the Flyers.
Yeah, he did. He sure did.
Yeah.
So moving on. So tomorrow then we've got at 12:30 we've got Oahe taking on Brookings.
Okay.
Which I believe that Oahe, I believe they've split their season series. I'm not 100% sure of that. I do know that Oahe did take it to Brookings once pretty big.
Right.
But it should be a really good game.
That's going to be a very interesting matchup. And then then you also have, and I don't know, is this at like 10 a.m.?
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a moment. I got to get to that game. That one's going to be an incredible matchup.
Yeah.
And I believe the championship game at 3 should be a really good. It's the top two games, the championship game and the third place game, are rematches from last season.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah.
A lot of pride on the line here.
There sure is.
Wow.
There sure is. So moving on, we did have two games that started early in the day today. First game was the Marlins taking on the Cougars. The Mitchell Marlins taking on the Aberdeen Cougars, and it was another really good game. Another game very similar to the Brookings Sioux Falls game today.
Yeah.
We'll run through the scoring here real quick. Tons and tons of shots on goal by Mitchell. That was probably the thing that really surprised me more than anything. But first period, Mitchell gets out to an early lead. Jacob Rice from Jordan Grosdidier. That was at 8:48 in the first. And then at 12:13 of the first, Aberdeen gets their goal. Cody Mardian from Desmond Dean and Derek Hunstad to tie it up at 1, heading into the locker room for the second. It was rather interesting first period. It was not a lot of penalties, just not a lot of scoring, tons of shots, 23 shots on goal total between the two teams.
Wow.
So, just kind of one of those games.
Yeah.
And then moving on to the second period, Aberdeen gets 2 goals really early in the second. At 1:39, a Cody Mardian unassisted goal. And then at 6:29, a Ryan Bauer unassisted goal to make it 3-1. And I'm thinking at that point, yeah, here goes Aberdeen. They're putting it into Cruz, and away they go.
Yeah.
And perhaps they put it into Cruz a little bit too much because at 10:11, Jacob Sersasimo gets a shorty to make it 3-2, and then at 16:36, just 24 seconds remaining in the second period, Jacob Phil with assist by Jordan Grosdidier and Jacob Sersasimo to tie it up at 3.
Going into the third. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And once again, so far in the game, you've got 6 goals scored. You've only got 5 penalties called, and nothing that was really of a lot of consequence.
Right.
And away we go into the third. Aberdeen gets the first goal, 2:27 into the third. Luke Linger from Matt Hardy and Desmond Dean to make it 4-3. 6:56, Mitchell ties it up. Another Sursasimo goal from Jordan Grosdidier. So Sursasimo's got 2 goals on the day. And then at 8:34, an Aberdeen Cougars goal by Jacob Milbrandt to make it 5-4. And that's how we end.
Wow.
And I tell you what, Mitchell, that last half of that last period, they were just shooting the puck like mad. They had 14 shots on goal to Aberdeen 7 in the third, for a total of 39 shots on goal for Mitchell and 29 shots on goal for Aberdeen.
Wow.
So it was quite a day. Tate Sutherland was the netminder for Mitchell Marlins. He stopped 24 of 29. And Nick Dalco was the goaltender for Aberdeen. He stopped 35 of 39. So some pretty amazing goaltending, some really good skating. I mean, we're talking this is the sixth and seventh seed, if I remember right. So
goaltending, I'll tell you what, it's the backbone of any team.
Yeah, very much
every
so.
team.
And so here was the game that really it didn't really surprise me until the third period. We've got Watertown taking on Huron. This is the Watertown Lakers, the 5 seed, taking on the Huron All-Stars, the 8 seed.
Yeah.
Huron played one heck of a game yesterday against Rushmore, taking Rushmore, I believe it was a 6-2 or 6-3 game yesterday. And considering they were playing the 8th seed, I thought that was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Watertown scores 3 goals in the first period. First one, 23 seconds into the first. Jason Good, even strength goal. At 6:20, a Pat Merrigan goal from Jarrett Spearing and Samuel Schoberg. And then at 16:21, a Jason Good goal for 2 for the game, 2 for the period. 3-0. No shots, or no scoring in the second. So here we go into the third. And, basically at this point, Watertown's, like I said, they've kind of got it in cruise control.
Yeah.
Here comes Huron. 6:46 in, Huron scores a goal. Josh Kreck from Jason Jordheim and Brady Edelman. And then, seriously, 9 seconds later, a second goal from Brady Edelman with an assist to Ryan Harvey to make it 3-2. Now it's a game.
Oh, yeah. that was an incredible moment to watch. Yeah. And I hate to say it, but I mean, I have family ties to the Watertown Lakers. I had a cousin that actually was a defenseman for them growing up.
Okay.
So I've got a soft spot in my heart there for Watertown. And I wasn't calling that game, but I was watching it, and suddenly I see Huron score 2 goals in 9 seconds. And the heart beat a little fast there, so it was a great game to watch. Huron really played well in that game. I really felt they did.
Yeah, I agree.
But Watertown, they've got a hockey culture there too. I mean,
they do
a surprisingly prominent hockey culture.
They do. They travel well. The game tomorrow with Watertown in the consolation. Watertown taking on
I think Aberdeen. Yeah.
Watertown travels well. They will pack this place for that Consi final tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So finish it. Watertown does score 2 more goals. One at 9:32 by Patrick Merrigan, and then one at 9:44, just 12 seconds later, Lucas Eide from Parker Riddle. That's the end of the game, 5-2. And for our goaltending, we had Tyler Starrett in net for the All-Stars. He stopped 24 of 29. And Robbie Lukin was in goal for Watertown. He stopped 25 of 27. Really
great goal.
Yeah, good game, good goaltending.
Yeah.
So now we're into tomorrow. We've got our championship games tomorrow. 10 a.m. will be the consolation final. Watertown Lakers taking on the Aberdeen Cougars. You've seen both of these teams play, have you?
I've seen Watertown.
You've seen Watertown.
I haven't seen the Cougars.
Okay.
However, what I've seen from Watertown I've been very impressed. I think it's going to be a heck of a game. My heart tells me Watertown comes out on top, but okay. I can't confidently say that, having not seen Aberdeen play.
Yeah.
So this is just all up in the air.
Well, Aberdeen had an interesting season this year. They started out really hot, played a lot of games. I mean, they were toward the top of the league through until about midway through the season, and then they just sort of fell away. My gut tells me that Watertown is going to win that game as well. But I think Aberdeen's going to put up one heck of a fight. I think it's going to be a great game. I really do.
It's going to be a fun one to watch.
So then at 12:30 we've got the third place game. Rangers.
That's gonna be very exciting.
Rangers, Capitals. Almost sounds like a
Right.
NHL game there.
Yeah. And you've got very loyal fan bases as well. I mean, it's going to be a rocking house.
Rangers will pack this place out tomorrow. That entire side of the stadium will be full of Rangers fans. Probably half of this side of the stadium, the people standing around the edges.
Yeah.
But the Oahe Caps are traveling very well as well. They had tons of fans here tonight for their game. What do you think?
You know, Oahe played a very good game. They really did. But Brookings plays a very disciplined game. As you said, they flow.
Yes.
They flow very well. But Oahe also has great coaching, as we've seen or heard previously here on the show, earlier in the show. That I think the home crowd is what pushes it over the top.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what's going to push it over the top.
Well, I'm seeing Carol over there saying, Oahe, Oahe. But, Brookings was my pick to win the entire thing.
Okay.
When we did our show last weekend.
Yeah.
I thought the home crowd really pushed Brookings over the top. I was very surprised when they...
well, they nearly did.
Yeah. But I was very surprised at that game today that Sioux Falls did win that game. And once again, being a Sioux Falls fanatic,
Yeah.
That spoke a lot.
Yeah.
But I do believe tomorrow that the Rangers are going to take that third place game tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a great game, and I'm not selling Oahe short at all. Any Rob Kate coach team has a chance to win anything.
Yeah.
And it could very well be a 2 to 3 overtime game.
Yeah. Oh, overtime would not surprise me.
Yeah.
Not at all.
So we move on to the championship game. Now, as I recall, Carol picked the Thunder to win the whole thing.
Well, I don't think she's necessarily wrong in that regard. Will Caleb Anderson be enough to stop, or to counter, at least counter the offensive wave that is Rushmore?
Yes.
I'm not so sure. I think he's a game-breaking player, but he's one game-breaking player with some nice complementary pieces around him, going up against a team that has a number of game-breaking players.
Certainly.
So as much as I would love to say Sioux Falls, I have to be realistic and say Rushmore.
I think I agree with you. Now, and once again, I've been wrong already.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'm wrong again from my heart.
Yeah.
But I do know that Rushmore and Sioux Falls did play their varsity games over the year. They played 2 games out in Rushmore this year, and they split.
Yeah.
Sioux Falls won 1, Rushmore won 1. So, in essence, this is the rubber game of the series.
Yeah.
And it's on neutral ice. Sioux Falls will bring a good crowd here tomorrow. It won't be a great crowd, but it'll be a good crowd. Rushmore has a group of rowdies that I have not seen in a long time. At the same time, I think you're going to see pretty much all of eastern South Dakota rooting for the Flyers tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you'll have the Rangers over here. From what I've seen in the past, everybody kind of wants to bring the cup back to the eastern side of the state.
Yeah.
But I'm still gonna go with Rushmore. I am gonna say probably 5-4 Rushmore is my guessing, and I'm thinking for an overtime game.
Okay. Yeah. I 5-4. I was thinking that. Well, it might be a little conservative.
That could be.
I honestly don't even know if I would give the Sioux Falls Andersons enough in that regard. I would almost say 5-4 or 5-3. Excuse me.
Carol said the same thing.
Rushmore. So that's what I'm going with. I dearly hope I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm going with. 5-3 Oahe.
All right.
Or not Oahe, but Rushmore.
Rushmore. Well, perfect. Well, I think that wraps up our show for tonight. Dakota, thanks
Right. You bet,
for
Randy.
joining me. We'll do another one tomorrow after the tournament's all done. We'll have our wrap-up show for the weekend about 30 minutes after the tournament ends tomorrow afternoon.
Good.
And I'm looking forward to a good day tomorrow. I'm going to go
gonna be
home and
great.
get some rest, and just got word that I am doing PA for the championship game tomorrow. So
All right.
it'll be a fun day.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it as well.
Yeah.
So from Hockey 605, my name's Randy Preston,
And I'm Dakota Case.
and you are Hockey 605.
Thanks for joining us.